Hello and welcome. You're listening to the Tasty Tidbits podcast. Get ready to receive rich, well-seasoned, and tasteful tidbits to transform your life. Each week, Dr. Tiffany comes to you with inspirational encouragement and thought-provoking interviews to help revolutionize your walk with God. Are you hungry for more of His presence? Then get ready. And now, your host, author, intuitive life coach, and pastor, Dr. Tiffany Watkins.
Hello, everyone, and welcome again to Tasty Tidbits. I'm your host, Dr. Tiffany Watkins, and I'm so excited to have my special guest here today, Roman Fischer, because we're going to be talking about getting motivated and also becoming a better you. And so today, as we begin to talk about this, I want to introduce my special guest, Roman, to you. Roman has helped many people improve their physical and mental health. No matter what fitness goals are being pursued, his ultimate goal is to help others transform their personal mind and body. Whatever your goals are, whether you want to gain muscle strength, burn fat, or recompose your body, or just align your flexibility and mobility, he can help you to become even a better you. So welcome, Roman. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being a part today. So we are talking about how to become a better you today on the podcast. But before we begin, just share with the listeners a little bit about what motivated you to become involved in fitness and nutrition.
Yeah, for sure. So what initially motivated me and really inspired me to get into fitness and nutrition both were actually a few different factors back in my past. So one of which, funny enough, being my younger brother. So it's funny because he was, growing up just like me. We were both skinny kids growing up in school, throughout school. And none of us really either paid too much mind or attention to working out, eating healthy, or anything, or anything similar to that. So after I started seeing him, though, pick up the weights, because what got him inspired was seeing Rocky, just that movie series, the Rocky Balboa series, where he does a lot of boxing matches and gets in great killer shape with all those really cool workout scenes, that really pump people up. So that pumped my brother up, actually. And then he took it upon himself to start weightlifting. And then after I started seeing my brother step into weightlifting and not even necessarily go to the gym, but literally just start weightlifting from home, and seeing him make those gradual, positive, and really effective changes to his body, like that really inspired me. Because what I first noticed, even before I saw any physical changes, I saw his mood elevate in a great positive manner. I saw him just totally transform and do a total 180 with his energy levels. I mean, obviously being younger, and being my younger brother especially, he was super energetic already. But seeing him make those changes to fitness, to working out, I saw him literally get 10 times more energy than he had before. So seeing the endorphins that he got from working out and weightlifting, and then seeing his body change with it, that really, really inspired me. So seeing him gain that strength, gain that muscle over the course of several months, that heavily inspired me to really want to pick up the weights and do the same thing. So I was thinking in my head, man, if my younger brother can do it, I can do it too. So if he can do it, I can't let him outlift me. So yeah, literally just got into the gym myself. Before that, just like my brother, I started working out at home. I just worked out in the garage, picked up any and all weights I could find that we had laying around in the garage. And I went to town. I just literally made that transformation. And over the course of a few months, after already feeling the same benefits he got, for more energy, more focus, and just more mental concentration. And overall, just a lot better, of a mindset for myself. I felt a lot more positive, felt a lot more energetic, and I felt like I could do a lot more and accomplish a lot more just by working out, because it gave me such a clearer mind and such a stronger, desire to want to go all in and go all out in anything I did in life and anything I would want to do in life. So that really inspired me there. And then seeing those physical changes on my body, going from more skinny and barely any muscle, really, to be honest with you, to a lot more muscle, a lot more strength, and just a lot more self-confidence as a byproduct. And I felt better than I ever did before. And having also struggled with insomnia. That helped me immensely. Just sleep better, feel better, and just be more refreshed for the next day ahead. And so that's what
Mm.
got me into fitness. And
Yes.
honestly, it's been life changing ever since. As far as the eating, as far as the healthy eating, though, as far as the nutrition is concerned, I wasn't actually 100% on that right away. I was not too dedicated and I was not really too consistent with eating healthy, even after I got into weightlifting, just to be totally honest. Like my fitness was good, but
Mm-hmm.
my nutrition was kind of lacking. So what I did and what I did to handle that was actually I researched what they all put in our foods and our drinks. Like literally one day I was just bored at work and I just researched on my break. I just totally sat down and researched all what is in our food or most of our foods and drinks. And I came to the conclusion that I mean you can't even pronounce a lot of the ingredients of what is in our food you cannot even pronounce to save your life. So that makes it really rough. It makes it really rough to, think about that and know that
Mm-hmm.
you're eating that, you're consuming that on a day-to-day basis, if not literally every single day of your life. And people don't always realize it. Some people know it, some people just don't care, sadly, but there's a lot of people in the world, and I was one of those people where I didn't fully care all the time, but I was more so ignorant to what I was eating and drinking because I thought it was just food, food is
Mm-hmm.
food.
Mm-hmm.
But after doing all that, diligent research and really digging deep into what's in our food and drinks, I just could not literally forget any of it. I could not turn back or forget what they put in our foods and drinks because it's for lack of better for lack of a better word, it's poison. It's straight up poison. And seeing all those ingredients you can't pronounce, and then there's 20, 30 plus ingredients on each thing of food. Like a loaf of bread has like 40 plus ingredients, and out of
Mm.
which you can maybe only pronounce a handful of them, and maybe not even that. So that's what really made it difficult to swallow for me at the time. So after I did that research, I started to just do a total 180 with my nutrition too. I figured if I can't put this in my body anymore. None of this has been healthy, and a lot of this has probably contributed to a lot of my, medications that I had to take because I found that a lot of these artificial colors and preservatives they can actually cause, ADHD. They can cause OCD and a lot of these conditions people deal with.
Mm.
So after I picked that up and I found that out, I just gradually, slowly but surely cleaned up my diet. It was not an overnight thing by any means. I mean, sometimes you can do things overnight, but most things in life you can't do overnight. And especially when it's something you're addicted to, like sugar, a lot of unhealthy foods, sweets, that's just something that you can't turn away from right away. So what I had
Mm-hmm.
to do is I gradually cut it out and phased it out of my diet. And over time, I just replaced, the sugars with more natural sweets like fruits,
Mm-hmm.
just to name one. So
Mm-hmm.
after that, I just felt so much better and just so much healthier. And I never looked back since.
Awesome, awesome. And just listening to you say that, I love that you say you won't do it overnight. It won't happen overnight, but you can start gradually, which encourages the listeners and everyone that you don't have to make major changes to get started on your fitness regimen or your fitness journey. You just have to start with something and keep being consistent at that. And over time, you'll lose a craving for it. And so, with that being said, in what ways can the listeners get motivated to begin a new fitness regimen? Because it's hard to get started upon that, but what is a way you can motivate them to begin their new fitness regimen?
Yes, a great way to get started, especially when you've never started your fitness regimen. First, just really know why you started. Always remember why you started. This is a great way to keep yourself motivated, even when you start, initially. But when you're just now getting started, it's important to know why you're even trying to start the journey. That's going to mentally prepare you and keep you mentally strong and focused on the journey that you're trying to go on, whether it's losing weight, burning fat, or gaining strength, gaining muscle, gaining flexibility, no matter what goal it might be. So that's a great way to mentally get yourself set up. because your mindset, your mental state is literally the most important thing, even more than your, overall physical state. Yes, your physical state's very important, without a doubt, but getting your mindset set right is most important. Because if your mindset's not set right, then no matter what you do, it's not going to really work the way you want it to. And you're not going to have that drive and that same fire and motivation if you don't have your mindset right. So I'd say that's first and foremost. After that, start small and then work your way up. It's just like if you're, lifting weights specifically, if you're trying to improve your weightlifting, you got to focus first on the form, then you got to just gradually work your way up in the weight. You don't want to lift too heavy to quit. So you want to
Mm-hmm.
work your way up on each workout you do and gradually increase the weight week by week or maybe every couple weeks. So really just starting small and working your way up. And by that, more specifically, I'm just going to say if you're a beginner, start with 3 days a week just to keep it simple, just to keep it not so overwhelming for you when you're just first starting. And then from there, you can do just full body workouts. Let's say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for example, or Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, just to name a couple examples right there. And just
Mm-hmm.
doing it 3 days a week, even 20 to 30 minutes a day. That way you're not living in the gym every day, all day. And it makes it a lot easier when you're starting out. And you can still burn a lot of calories and still develop some muscle and strength in 20, 30-minute workouts if you do them right. And
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're trying to lose weight, doing each workout back to back, each exercise with no rest, with little to no rest, and then resting at the very end for about 2 minutes, maybe a minute and a half. That's a great way to get started, not overwhelm yourself. And
Mm-hmm.
also understand too that you don't have to necessarily start in the gym. That's a great place to start. But if you have to, start at home, keep it simple. Work out at home, in the garage, in your living room. Do calisthenics if you have to. You don't have to necessarily go right to weightlifting right away. You can literally just work out with your own body to start with, if that's all you have.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So now, Roman, is it possible to lose weight without all of these popular diets? Can you pretty much eat pretty good like you want to and still achieve your weight loss goals?
Yes, definitely. Definitely. I will say you got to still keep your calories, your overall calories that you eat each day throughout the week. You got to keep those in check and you got to keep those in order. And you got to make sure that you're in that parameter of your calories for the day. So if you're trying to lose weight, obviously you got to be in a caloric deficit. If you're trying to gain muscle, if you're trying to gain muscle and weight, you need to be in a slight caloric surplus. That way, if you're in a slight caloric surplus, you're going to gain just enough weight so you can gain muscle, but mainly keep off the fat in the process. So you're going to make most of your gains lean. So you're going to gain mainly lean muscle. So it really all comes down to calories, not so much what diet you follow or don't follow. But I will say, especially if you're trying to get into fitness and take it seriously, I would not worry about a diet one bit. Because a lot of
Mm-hmm.
these diets, they tend to be more fad diets that are very not, very restrictive, and they keep people from actually attaining and achieving their fitness goals just because they are very, very restrictive. So yes, you can have breakfast, you can eat carbs. For example, you can eat fat, like all that's not bad. Just make sure that you're in your caloric range that you need to be in. So you can either lose weight if that's your goal, or gain muscle and strength if that's your goal.
So, Roman, can you lose weight and gain muscle at the same time? And I'm
Uh,
asking this for us as women, because sometimes when you're going and you're training, you're constantly on that scale. You're constantly on that. Some trainers they weigh you in every week and see if you're losing weight. Is there such a thing as you're gaining muscle weight? How do you know if you're truly losing weight and gaining muscle? I know there's several questions in one, but could you answer that?
yeah, no worries, no worries. So if you're trying to gain muscle and lose fat, you can definitely either focus on one at a time, which is usually easiest and best, especially if you're just starting out. But what's neat is if you do, in fact, want to lose fat, burn fat, and gain muscle, you definitely can. So the best way to go about it is if you're trying to do both, you really want to be in a slight caloric deficit. Because if
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to burn fat, whether you're just only trying to burn fat or you're trying to burn fat and gain muscle, you always have to be in a deficit then. Now, if you're just trying to gain muscle, you can be in a slight deficit or a surplus. But if you're also trying to burn fat, either by itself or with muscle in this case, then it is best to be in a slight deficit. That way, if you're in a slight caloric deficit, basically how many calories you burn throughout the day, if you're just slightly below that, typically that's about 200, maybe 250 calories below maintenance. So whatever calories you take in to maintain your weight, just be about 200 to 250 calories below that. That way you can still gain muscle because you're not in too drastic of a deficit. So your body still has the fuel and the fuel and the means to actually build up still and still gain muscle and strength. But also you're in a deficit where you can still burn fat because you have to be in a deficit if you're trying to lose weight and burn fat. That's the only true way to actually lean up and burn fat. But that's how you can do both at the same time and keep your
Mm-hmm.
protein high too. Keeping that protein high too when you're trying to burn fat and gain muscle is going to help complement your goal of maintaining your muscle and gaining muscle while you burn the fat. And what's neat too, when you're in a deficit, you're not only setting your body up to metabolize enough to burn fat, but you're also, when you gain some muscle in the process, that's going to help work in your favor because muscle itself will rev up your metabolism to actually help burn fat more. So it's
Mm-hmm.
literally, you get the best of both worlds all in one. So you
Mm-hmm.
definitely can do both. You just got to be a bit more strategic how you do it if you're going to basically do a body recomposition in this case.
Mm-hmm. And do you think intermittent fasting helps with that, or do you agree with that, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, for sure. So intermittent fasting, it's known to rev up your metabolism, boost and increase your metabolism, and also help burn fat by extension. I will say, while that is a known thing, it can work. I will say it definitely can work. It has its benefits because it can boost your, focus. It can boost your energy. And most importantly, when it comes to burning fat, it can actually boost and increase your metabolism too. So there are benefits to it, and it can help put you in a fat burning mode for your body called ketosis. So there is definitely a way it will work in your favor for burning fat. But with that said, it's not necessary to do because it all comes down to calories in, calories out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
all you really need. You don't really have to fast if you don't want. However, if you do follow the deficit properly and you're in a caloric deficit for your body and you fast, you can actually get a stronger effect. But it's not for everyone. I mean, some people like breakfast, so you don't have to do it if you don't want to do it. It's really
Mm-hmm.
all personal preference. But make sure if you're going to fast that you're still in a deficit. Because here's where people can go wrong. While fasting can be very effective and rev up your metabolism, it will work, but it can only work to do that if you're also in a deficit. Because if you're in a surplus, you're eating more than you burn off, and you're intermittent fasting, it won't work. Like you're not going to
Right.
burn fat if you're not in that deficit. So always be in the deficit no matter what diet you may or may not follow. But
Mm-hmm.
again, if you do want those extra, benefits and that extra boost, the extra fat burning boost, to be specific, then I would suggest being in that deficit with the intermittent fasting for
Mm-hmm.
sure.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, what recommendations do you have for listeners who may have lost motivation in regards to fitness and nutrition?
Yes, I will just say this: understand that not everything's going to always go exactly how you want it and need it to go, and that's just part of life. But it's a process, and any pain, any disappointment, any frustration you might have in the process, whether it's related to something in your fitness journey and your fitness goals, or maybe just a personal matter outside of fitness, but it's affecting your fitness. So wherever it might be, whatever it might be, pinpoint what that issue is, but understand that that pain, whatever amount of pain it might be, it's only temporary, and that growth that you're going to get and that you may have gotten up to now is permanent, and that's only going to keep going, and you're the only one that can stop you. So knowing that it's okay to fall off, it's okay to know that, and know that you are human, but it just takes time. And sometimes you gotta fall off before you can come back to it and come back stronger. So that's
Mm-hmm.
also very important to know for sure. Because a lot of people get so mad at themselves. And the problem is it's normal, but they don't really understand that you're human. I mean, we are all human. So we're going to mess up. We're not always going to hit the exact weight we want to be at. We're not always going to get to that exact weight the next day. We're not always going to look exactly the way we want to next week in the mirror. So it all just depends, but it comes in phases. It takes time, and everyone grows and changes and transforms at a different pace and a different rate. But ultimately, you will get there. You just got to stick with it. You just got to stick with it.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
really, in the simplest words, just sticking with it and seeing the process through is the best thing that you can ever do with anything, especially with your fitness goals.
Mm-hmm. And Roman, that helped me when I started my fitness journey several years ago. I just made a decision. I didn't start off with a whole lot of days. I think I started off
Yes.
with a couple of days, but I gave myself a time frame. I'm going to be consistent and going twice a week for this many days. And I noticed that I was able to do it for up to a period of time. And once I was consistent, it motivated me to even go add another day and continue to be consistent. And when I felt like I was ready to, move that day up again, I would do it because I noticed if I tried to put too much on at one time, I would immediately just feel like falling off. But being able to just do it a little bit at a time and be consistent, I found that even being consistent, roaming in 2 days a week, I noticed that I started to lose weight, because
Oh yeah.
I was just being consistent, not starting and stopping, starting and stopping, and even now when I go in the gym, and I have a trainer on Wednesdays and I hate going. It's like I just hate going, but at the same time I know the benefits that it has, and because of that consistency I've gotten so used to the routine of it even when I don't want to go. And knowing that why, like you said earlier, having my why and just being consistent, those are two powerful things that keeps you as motivated as well, Roman, and I found that to help.
Oh yeah, 100%. And it's so much better, just like what you were saying, going 2 days a week only, even if that's what you have to do, to just go simply 2 days a week each week instead of going maybe 4 to 5 days a week and then falling off for a few weeks and then going back and rinsing and repeating that instead of repeating that same vicious cycle. Even just going 2 days a week, just starting at that is literally better than nothing. And at
Mm-hmm.
least then you're consistent each week. And then you're going
Mm-hmm.
to actually build up more progress than some people that go 3 to 5 days a week, even some people that go 6 days a week and then fall off for a few weeks and rinse and repeat that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And so before we go, Roman, I just want to ask you one question. In your opinion, what can listeners do to break old habits that are no longer, serving them and is beneficial to them?
Yeah, for sure. The best and most effective way that I've found personally to break old habits and not continue down that same path, honestly, is pinpointing. First off, just pinpoint whatever that bad old habit is, pinpoint whatever that is, and then make a note, literally make a note, write it down because there's so much power to writing, pen to paper, writing out what you're intentional about. So when you write this down and you write it in a notebook, one that you can just keep, have with you almost at all times, if not at all times, and just write down what that bad habit is, and then from there drop down a line or two and write down the solution to whatever that might be and how you're going to make that a solution for yourself in your life, and just being very crystal clear, getting very crystal clear and specific on how you're going to make that change, how you're going to make that change, and how you're going to overcome whatever that old habit is. And honestly, sometimes if you have to gradually wean yourself off of whatever that old habit is, for example, let's say someone drinks 4 sodas a day, so maybe 4 Pepsis a day. If that's what they do, and someone's that addicted to Pepsi, because I've known some people that are, and
Me
hey,
too.
we all have our own addictions though.
Yes,
So,
yes.
not to shame anyone, but definitely
Mm-hmm.
there's some people that have that and they're just trying to overcome it. And it's rough because I know myself, I used to be a sugar addict, very much so. So literally going from whatever that is, 4 sodas a day, 4 servings of Pepsi a day here, and then cutting it down to maybe the next day, cutting it to literally 3.5, 3 cups or 3 servings, and then just weaning it out, weaning yourself off of that each day, maybe even every 2 to 3 days, just cutting it down. But the goal is to taper down, but don't taper off of it too quickly. Don't go cold turkey, because yes, you want to overcome that bad habit, whether it's with your nutrition, like we were just mentioning here, or maybe your fitness journey with working out, or maybe outside of fitness. But whatever it is, just tapering off of that bad habit, not going right away from it right away. I mean, ideally, that's what you would do. But realistically, most people have to taper themselves off of things, especially in diet, nutrition, and fitness with working out. And you got to wean yourself off of it. Or in the case of working out, you got to gradually add on workout days. But first, start small. So it's quite the opposite with that. But yeah, essentially just writing that in a notebook so you can see the problem at hand, whatever it is, whether it's a sugar addiction you're trying to get off of, or you're not really consistent in the gym, then just write out steps and how you can make that happen. Specifically, start small in the gym, maybe 1 to 2 days a week, even 3 days a week, and then work up from there. And I found that to be the best and most effective way.
That's awesome, Roman. And you've given the listeners some helpful tips, and just even me helpful tips in order to remain consistent, because in the end, we want to make sure that we give our body the best opportunity to be at its fullest strength and to be able to better serve us. And so being able to do these things will help us to get us to that journey. And, listeners, I was looking at some of the clients that Roman has worked with, and congratulations, Romans, on working with those that have tremendously lost weight. And I know that as a coach, that has been rewarding for you as well, to start from your brother, just watching him, to you doing it, to now transforming other people's lives just by helping them from what you learned.
Oh, yeah. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. It's really amazing, the transformation and how it started with him to how it's carried over and filtered in to my own personal and just professional life now. It's amazing.
Yes, really yes. So congratulations to you. But thank you for being a part of the podcast today. If the listeners wanted to find out more about your coaching and what you do, how could they get in touch with you?
Definitely. If you want to find out more about me, what I do, the clients that I've helped with their testimonials and transformations both, you can find me at my website, romanfischerofficial.com. From there, if you're needing help with any and all fitness goals, then you can literally fill out an application and we can go from there. You can also find me on social media at Roman Fischer Official on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And it's a great way to connect one-on-one for sure.
Awesome. So listeners, we'll have some links in our show notes for you to have for Roman, so that you can find out more about him if you want to learn more about your fitness goals. But thank you again, Roman, for being a part of the podcast today. And we are so glad to have you to share today.
Definitely. And remember, motivation gets you going, but consistency keeps you growing.
Awesome. So listeners, remember that. And until next time, God bless. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Tasty Tidbits. If you're enjoying the show, feel free to subscribe, rate, and share with your friends. To learn more about Dr. Tiffany, check her out on Linktree at dr.tiffanywatkins, or visit her website, iridescencebytiffany.com. Until next time, stay blessed.